Howdy folks, Rebecca Jolly here. I am the Jolly Alchemist. We're ready today to have another neutrino forecast for Sunday, the 21st of September, 2025. So welcome, let's get into it. We've moved through the first half of the third quarter, and all those first 8 gates have been really focused by the first gate in that quarter, which is gate 7, a gate of direction, a gate of looking forward, and really that interpersonal relationship between the yin and the yang. Now, these next 8 gates are going to be more in the focus of a gate of love, and the gate of love in this case is 46. That's the love of the body, that's serendipity, and that gate is right here on the side here of the G center, coming down towards the sacral center. And all these 3 channels here are what Ra called tantric channels, which makes everybody go crazy because they're like, oh my gosh, sex, tantra, blah, 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 blah. It's much more complicated than that, and I'm not even going to get into it now. But know that there is something there that we can get into when we're looking into deeper things. For now, we're really looking at the nature of this 46 gate, and the next 3 crosses will be into that, starting with this one, the cross of love. So it'll be 46 and 25. 25 is the gate of innocence, or the love of everything. So that's including plants, animals, rocks, all of it, the whole earth, the innocent love of all of it. And let me look real quick what we have as the underpinnings of that 46. Yes, it's still the 15 and the 10 left over from the last cross. You know, it's always a little bit of a leapfrogging energy. So what's supporting this 46 and the 25 is the 10, the love of behavior, or the treading of self as it's called in the I Ching, and then the 15, the love of all humanity. So we've got these 2 gates on either side coming out of the G center, and then this one coming out here, and this one coming out here. So it's the vessel of love and the vessel of the Sphinx are all really centered here in the G center. So this is one of those that does that. So the 46 is about love of the body, really being in the body, enjoying the body, doing, good things in the body, putting the body in the right place, being authentic in the body. And through that authentic living in the body, we find ourselves being able to be in the right time at the right place. Or, in other words, able to access luck. How nice. So we're going to be facing 6 days of, if you're in the right place and you're doing the right thing, you can be very, very lucky. So these next 6 days are days, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, good days to play the lottery. Your luck can be activated. Now, I'm not saying if you play the lottery, you'll win, because it depends on living your design. You have to live your design, which makes it so that you are naturally in the right place at the right time. Luck does not come to those who are not prepared for it, right? What is that saying? Luck favors the prepared? That's exactly what we're talking about. So the first line of this 46.1 is being discovered. Dedication in obscurity that is discovered. And I just talked recently about this. It must have been when Mercury was moving through it, now that Mercury is foreshadowing what the sun is doing. And because I talked about my daughter having that activation, and as a musician, I'm very curious to see if that will cause her to be musically discovered. The whole point of this is do what you love. Do what you have a passion for. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the fame. Don't worry about power. Just do what you love. Art for art's sake. And in that, truly being of what you're doing and what you're loving, then you can be discovered. Then you can access that luck where everybody's like, oh, they were just right there. Yeah, they were just right there because they were doing what they were meant to be doing, and that put them in the path of luck. The earth activation that goes with this is gate 25, line 1. Again, that's innocence and love of all things here in this channel of initiation. And line 1 is selflessness, selfless action free from motives. Now, the interesting thing about that selflessness is it's only really selfless until somebody comes along and says, "Oh, you're so selfless. Look how noble you are." And then immediately they lose it because they go, "Yeah, yeah, I am selfless. Yeah." And as soon as you do that, it's gone. A motive is immediately arriving in that scene. So we go in and out of innocence. Yeah, I used to have a friend who said that after a certain amount of time without sex, she counted herself as re-virginalized. And that's kind of how it happens with innocence. You come into a situation innocent, you're shocked, you reach a new level of knowledge. Does that mean you're never innocent again? Oh no, you're still innocent the next time it rolls around. Maybe it'll be better this time. Maybe everything will work out fine. You still have that innocence that, for good or bad, can be upgraded or crushed over and over again. So, someone who is still aware of their motive can again have this selfless action, and it's a beautiful thing. Which leads me to our song of the day today, which is Heal the World by Michael Jackson. And we hear in the beginning of this song a child speaking about the future, helping us, coming together to make things better for everyone, for the generations beyond, and for those who haven't even been born yet. A true, selfless kind of love and concern. So I thought, yeah, heal the world. And that is really what we're trying to do when we enter human design. We heal the world best by healing us. We're not going to make a difference on the big political scene. I'm not sure even the big people are making a difference in the political scene. But for sure, the one place we can make a difference is in us, and in the upgrading of us, in us minding our business and doing what we're supposed to be doing, focusing on what is us. We truly can achieve an upgrade in the global energy, the global aura, because it is upgraded one human at a time. So we've got one human here. Do that. And that will be the best thing you can do for the healing of the planet. So check out that song if you haven't heard it before. Michael Jackson. There it is. He had some really good songs. All right. In this case, our 25 line 1 does have an up arrow on it, and that is the innocent selflessness that acts without motive and faces the challenges. Now, this is giving us 2 activations of this exact line, this exact up arrow, because we also have this activation happening in our retrograde Saturn right now. So we must have needed that extra boost of innocent and selfless love to get through this time. And here it is, the energy for us. So we can look into the world and see, what is it that needs selfless love and healing today? And maybe have a little bit left of ourselves to apply it. Speaking of which, the scarf for today, which is not actually a scarf, it's a belt. But I was sitting in my room looking at all these different, ties and scarves and things, and I thought, what really typifies love? How do you show love in something that you can drape around your neck? And as soon as I saw this, I thought, that's the one. Because whoever made this, and I got it at a thrift store or the side of the road or something, whoever made this, they tied just thousands of little bitty knots. This took somebody hours and hours and hours of love and dedication to make this just perfectly what it is here. And I thought, I can't think of more of an expression of love for creating something beautiful than whoever it is that did this. So, love. There it is. All right, our moon begins in 47 line 6. And 47, of course, as we have so recently learned, is trying to make sense of confusion. That 6th line being, of course, futility. The futility of understanding and finding meaning. Now, of course, that 6th line is aware that sometimes meaning can be found, but that you never seem to get to the end of it. There's always more confusion. There's always more meaning that needs to be found. And it's just impossible to get to the end of that struggle. That futility, that's what 47.6 is about. And so for those of us who carry it, you're doing something actually selfless for the rest of the planet in carrying that awareness and helping to share it with others, that it's okay. You don't have to make sense of everything right now. Things will come. It'll be fine. Right now, we can just try our best. We'll make sense. That confusion will fire down and give us new images, new things to make sense of, and then we'll dive into an experience and we'll learn something from that, and eventually we will be able to make some sense of something. Maybe not all the sense of all the things, but some. So, when the moon is done with 46, it will, of course, go into 6, like I said yesterday, which will give us a today rejuvenation for a while of this 59.6 energy. But then after today, it will be done. So, baby making time, done for a while. Of course, babies are always being made, but they're being made through this connection. At least that's the rumor. So, if you only have one or you don't have any of these, but then you go to a grocery store or a theater or a coffee shop or school, for sure somebody there is going to have those things, so that if that fertilization needs to happen, it can. And if you don't want fertilization to happen, stay home. So, after 6, of course, this is the moon moving through the same exact cycle around the wheel. We just finished going through the gates of 6. Now we're into 46. So 46 comes after 6. So the moon itself will be going through that 46 gate, and then it will go to 18. So now you know that when we're done with these 6 days of 46, we'll be starting to look at focus on the broken, gate 18. All right, so the Mercury is already in 18 as our current foreshadower. It's 18 line 2 because we did 18 line 1, evolution, conservative principles for gradual evolution yesterday. Today it moves into line 2, accepting, to recognize and accept the irreversible. So even though you have a focus on the broken, if you can see you can't change it, it's like, well, all right, we'll just accept it. That's what's happening in that second line, where we have that natural ability happening that's not self-aware, but it's just kind of naturally carrying it on in its own private sphere, where other people can look on in it and see and call it out to share with the world. Then Mercury will move into 18 line 3, which is fanatic zeal. Okay, this is one to be a little bit more careful of. What we have here happening is the 18th gate. In its desire to fix things and make things better, it focuses on the broken so much that sometimes it can throw out the baby with the bathwater. Fanatic zeal says, once the need for correction has been identified, then it's going to leap into it. Yes, I see a place where a change can actually be made. Boo, right there. It can be painful, but ultimately it is helpful and good for us as humans to have that focus on the broken sometimes. Venus starts off in 59.3. We looked at 59.2. This is our gate of sexual roles happening here. And it moves to 59.3, which is openness. Line 3 is always our experimental line, our bonds made and broken. People who have this 59.3 activation should not expect to have a monogamous relationship their whole entire lives. Sorry, you don't carry the energy. So just accept that your relationships need to be different. They need to give you the freedom to make and break that bond, to go away, to take a separate vacation, to live in a different house, to have an open relationship, to explore different partners and different ways of living. That's just the way it is. You're going to be happier if you accept that than if you try to be the conditioned self, which is, monogamy. But I got to say, monogamy as Americans do it isn't monogamous anyway. At best, it's serial monogamy. So that's definitely time for an upgrade. And if you're looking for a recommendation on that, I definitely recommend Sex at Dawn. That's a good book about putting all that monogamy into perspective and recognizing that humans weren't really built for that. That's a conditioned thing there. So don't take my word for it. Go look at yourself. Then we move to 59.4. Line 4 is true friendship, the power for non-sexual closeness and intimacy. So this is looking at all the different kinds, and line 4 is looking to have that first awareness of the other, connecting with the other, influencing the other. It's very fixed on that. It's much more about friendship. I have a daughter that carries this line, and she had a partner for over 10 years. I didn't like the guy because I didn't see him doing good things. But she had a very close connection with him, and I said, so, do you do a lot of the sex thing? And she said, actually, it's really much more of a companionable kind of relationship. And I thought, yeah, I bet it is. You carry that line 4 of gate 59. So you're really going to be having all of your long-term relationships emerging out of a friendship. These people will need friendship first. All right, our Mars energy hits 50 line 4 today, and that does have a down arrow. 50 line 4 is corruption of values, to maintain one's strength despite questionable values. I was in a meeting and we were talking about this line, and a woman who was carrying it was talking about what it's like to live in South America, and somebody said, well, do you have questionable values down there in South America? And she said, well, I try to maintain my values despite, the questionable things going on around me. But yeah, I see a lot of scandalous behavior because of this activation that I carry. I see all these questionable values being explored, with all of the, what is it, the corruption, and corruption's everywhere. Don't think it's not in America, but they've certainly in some places in South America advanced the idea of corruption to a very high degree, and well, she was talking about that. Very interesting. Our global energies are still staying stable. The only connection that we have today is happening, and not through the whole day, but definitely part of the day, through that 59.6, the channel of the uniter, bringing people together in fertile connections. And these are not just sexual connections. These are also fertile connections for starting businesses, starting projects, starting corporations, starting communities. It's starting all kinds of things together. Okay, this right angle cross of love, of course, being a right angle, it's much more self-focused. We're on the first line, so it's very getting down to the foundational depths of the thing. The people who exemplify this right angle cross of the vessel of love: H.G. Wells, Michael Faraday, Jim Henson, Linda McCartney, Bruce Springsteen, Ani DeFranco. Oh, I like her so much. She's such a nice provocateur. Ray Charles, and Romy Schneider, and John Coltrane. So those are some nice examples for us of things that can be done on the vessel of love. All right, I think I have covered all the things today, including our song, Heal the World. Take a minute, go check that out. That's a very touching song by somebody who was, it seems to me, living through a lot of pain. Of course, in some ways, he had fame, he had fortune, but privately, he seemed always to me to be an extremely unhappy kind of person, and looking for something to be better, trying to find a better world, but not necessarily always seeing it. But you can see it in his music. He's the one who wrote Man in the Mirror. I'm going to make a change for once in my life. It's going to start with me. And this Heal the World is also that kind of a good, loving, selfless type of energy. So there we are. Come back tomorrow. We will do another transit report. Until then, ciao.